This is the Get Better Everyday podcast with Matt Gouget. Actionable advice from real life superheroes who, just like you, are in relentless pursuit of the best version of themselves. Whether you're just getting started or have been at it for years, my hope is that this podcast injects you with some positive energy to continue doing what brings you joy. Join me as I interview the best of the best in business, sports, and life. Let's grow together. All right. I've got Matty A good friend of mine, an entrepreneur and a great dude. I'm excited to have you on today. Get Better Every Day with Matt Gouget. Matty A, let's start off. Just tell everybody, who is Matty A?
Man, I mean, I'm the simplest form is, I'm a real estate investor, syndicator, developer, father, husband, and really just a student of life, always looking for my next teacher, looking to always put more tools on my tool belt to go out and continue, unlocking new levels of wealth, happiness, freedom, fulfillment, impact, all of the stuff that I'm sure every single person that's listening to your show is looking to do.
Yeah, for sure. And just for some context, me and you have been jumping on a weekly call. You've been helping me personally get better every day. So I know you've got some insight into getting better every day. What I want to really have resonate with folks is that, this isn't something that happens overnight. All the success you're seeing today isn't something that you just woke up one day and said, I want to be extremely successful and build a hotel from the ground up in Texas, right? It's been years in the making. So tell us a little bit too, because I love the saying that you'll overestimate what you can do in a year, underestimate what you can do in a decade. Where was Matty A 10 years ago? And then tell us a little bit maybe about like things that you did between then and now to get better every day to put you in the position where you are today.
Yeah. I mean, I think every person that we look at, that has some level of success that you admire, or some aspect of their life or their business or their influence, they all started somewhere. Bruce Lee wasn't Bruce Lee, until he became Bruce Lee. And I have always been a big believer that, I know you roll in jits, right? Every black belt started as a white belt. Every master, and sensei started as a student. And, for me, I try and just stay as humble as I possibly can, because early on in my life, it was not that. It was driven by a lot of ego. And obviously that led me to getting into trouble. I got kind of a turbulent start, to be honest. I mean, I got expelled from high school. I got arrested in college and was, facing prison time. And a lot of it had to do with just who I was surrounding myself with. You hang around 4 other people that are smoking and drinking and stealing and fighting and doing things that probably aren't that great, you're going to become the 5th person. And that was kind of a fork in the road moment in my life. I was in late teens, early 20s. And that was what I called my oh shit moment in life. Really was like, oh shit, if I don't do something about this, man, it ain't going to be too good for me. And it was really one of those things where a lot of my audio and the words that would come out of my mouth were very incongruent with the video and the actions that I was taking. And, I think as I started to get more honest with myself, I started to, one, have real consequences of my actions, looming over me. It was one of those things of, do I want to take accountability and do something about it? And I think the people that I know and admire and have the greatest success is not the people who are ultimately, perfect. It's the people who own their flaws and their mistakes, and they look to get better from their failures and fail forward and, optimize and enhance themselves through humility and hard work and persistence. And I'm just one of those people that, thankfully I had some people that spoke some wisdom into my life and believed in me in moments that I didn't believe in myself. And that is the power of being around the right people, right? When you necessarily aren't in a space mentally or physically that you can, believe in yourself, having those individuals around you and being in proximity to peers and mentors and, individuals that, inspire and challenge you to become who you are and not see you as you, are in that moment. I think is really, really critical. And so that led me to kind of finding my path in entrepreneurship. I was a hustler in other areas of life that maybe weren't serving me or others at the highest level. And I found a way to kind of, put that purposefully and intentionally towards things that, did align more with my core values. And that was another thing that was really, I think, important, was getting clarity on what are my values? What do I stand for? What don't I stand for? And as I started to get more and more clear and more aware and more aligned with who that version of myself was that I wanted to become, and obviously that's a constant evolution, as you go through different seasons and stages in your life, that awareness gave me a chance to do something about it. It's one thing to get clear on something, which I think a lot of people lack clarity in a lot of areas of their life. And so they just kind of opt into, by default, things that are around them, conversations that are around them, environments that are around them, habits and disciplines that are around them, people that are around them. And as I got clear and more aware of what I wanted and what path I wanted to go down, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, but I am a beast in terms of work ethic. And I'm just really, really consistent of grinding on the right things once I'm clear of what those things are every day. And so you do that for a decade, or, at least we'll just say in terms of my professional career as a real estate investor, entrepreneur, speaker, has been, getting on the right path and just doing small little things consistently over an extended period of time that now, in the moments maybe didn't feel or look, sexy, one, to me or to maybe other people, now all of a sudden are starting to look more sexy and compounding to get results, and recognition that most people don't have the stamina to stick with in order to get those things. And so when I look at the people who are most successful, in business, life, sports, marriages, it's not the people that are perfect or that have it all figured out. It's just the people that stay chopping wood at, one core tree trunk, or maybe a couple core tree trunks of life or business, that you do that long enough over and over and over again, you're going to build a pretty cool log cabin that other people might want to come kick it and hang out in. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what my journey has looked like, starting in real estate, then graduating more towards, wanting to build real wealth, of not just making an income, but focusing on, how do I take the income that I am making and continue to leverage it into, wealth building assets that generate, long-term passive income, mailbox money, unlock freedom. And, that has been really what has, been stepping stones and breadcrumbs along this path of, my professional career that have led me to starting as a realtor who worked for free for the first 12 months, and not knowing anything, to then starting to flip houses and flipping hundreds of houses, to then buying rentals, to then buying commercial assets, now owning hotels, now building hotels. So it's been a journey, man. And I think, that's the beauty of this crazy thing we call life is, everybody's got a path. I don't think one is any better or worse than, the other. They're just all different, and they are what we make of it. And I think that's, up to each individual person on, what perspective they see. And obviously, I think a lot of people have privilege. A lot of people start, maybe in different spots and have different hurdles and challenges, but at the end of the day, it all starts up here in between those two, ears of ours. And that's the battle you got to win every single day, no matter what your circumstances.
Yeah, I totally agree. A couple of things I took out of that, which I've heard from a lot of successful folks, is consistency and that compounding effect. Like you said, consistently good is going to beat occasionally great all the time.
Yep.
I feel the same way. Not the smartest, not the fastest, but you give me a task, I'm gonna go after it beast mode, right? And I've got work ethic that I would put up against anybody, right? And that's, that daily consistency and work ethic is what, over a long enough time horizon, most people are going to find success if they hone in on the correct things. What I'd love to get out of you, because, similar to you, I wasn't necessarily on the right path the whole time, right? I had to make a decision at a point in time to say, you know what, this path where I'm going isn't leading me to anywhere that I want to be, right? And I know, in 2011, I kind of had an aha moment where I just decided, like, I need new surroundings, new people. And nowadays, I have a lot of interesting conversations with people that come to me or are maybe introduced to me. This guy's not on the path he wants to be on. He's looking to him or her looking to go down a different path. What advice would you give to folks who are just, realizing, like you did, the people I'm surrounding myself with don't align with my values and where I'm looking to go? Like, how do you start to, audit your circle and change, your surroundings?
That's probably the hardest part for people, because the easiest narrative is to justify not doing it. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I would be an insert whatever name you want if I did that. I don't know if I can have those conversations. The reality of the situation is if you want a different result, the answer is you have to make a change, right? And instead of trying to change everything all at once, just make the next right choice. Like, just do one right decision, one right conversation, one right action, that one small degree starts tweaking the trajectory, the path that you're on. But for me, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm an extreme dude. So I just started, honestly, I ripped the Band-Aid off and I just said, hey, I went and had a conversation with a bunch of my friends that I was smoking weed and drinking with and getting in fights with and saying, hey, I love y'all, but I love my future even more. And ultimately, here's what I want to achieve and here's where I want to go. And I want you guys to know that I honor, love, and respect you, but this is what I'm going to be doing. And I hope that you can, appreciate that and respect that. And if you don't, I understand and I get it. If you want to come along with me, I got a seat in this bus for you too, and we can go on this journey together. And I think that's also part of leadership, is having tough conversations and proving to yourself that you can do things and you can say things that are uncomfortable, but are also in service of yourself and are in service and with good intention for other people. They don't have to hear what you're going to say, but if they can respect it, right, then that's a good thing. If they don't, then that's maybe a relationship you need to cut loose and let go. And that might be your mom, your dad, that might be your best friend, that might be a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like, if you want the outcome you say you want and the different path in life, if the people that are in your world, on your bus, are not congruent, aligned, right, and buying into what that looks like or what that's going to consist of, you either have to choose them and making them feel better or comfortable about themselves, or what life they're doing, or what decisions they're making, or what conversations they're participating in, or what environment they're staying in, or you got to choose yourself. I mean, it's not an easy answer, but it's the answer. Is you got to make a choice about what matters more to you. And I can say this is all the people that I was worried about, having issues with me and going and doing my thing, man, they loved and supported me and were like, dude, we was wondering when you were going to wake the hell up and stop doing dumb shit with us.
Yeah, you might wake up and have one of those conversations and have somebody else like, I was waiting for you to say something, man. I want to head in that direction as well. Let's do it together.
Absolutely. And the people that are haters and, want to talk trash, good, cut them. Those are the people that you need to know about fast so you can get away from them and get them out of your life, because they're energy vampires. They're those life suckers that don't want you to win. More people will not want you to win than there are people who want to celebrate your successes. But when you start getting on that path, you start to see those types of people as they get removed out of your life who you weren't aligned with. By being clear and upholding what those standards are in your life, you start to allow room and space for the people who do align with that path, who do align with those values, who do align with those beliefs, those actions, those environments, actually go, oh, there's room to go and kick it with that dude, or to be in his world, or to create opportunity together. And so one of the quotes that changed my life was, I am a loving person, but my standards are not. And what I realized was, one, early on in my life, I didn't even have standards for myself or for other people. I didn't uphold what those standards were. And when I did get clear on what my standards were, and I started to hold the bar and the line for myself, and I then started calling other people up to that bar in order to be in my world and for me to give my time and energy to, things got really small before they started getting really big. but I had to prove to myself first that I was willing to make the hard decisions and choices. And so, every quarter I do this exercise, by the way. It's just a line down the center of a piece of paper. On the left side, it's a plus and a multiplication sign. On the right side, it's a negative, a subtraction, and a division sign. And I go through and I kind of audit all of the people I'm spending most of my time with. And if there's anybody that falls into that, like, man, they drain me, man, they gossip, man, they're complainers, man, they, divide what my attention or energy or the relationships are in my life, I'll just go and have a conversation with them and just say, hey, I was taking inventory of some stuff that's been going on, and I love and appreciate you. I'm a big believer in you've heard me say this before, the kiss, kill, kiss, method is like, it's one of the best kind of frameworks for having tough conversations. Is like, you can go in and love and appreciate somebody and acknowledge stuff that you like about them, but then you can call out or call up, some of the things that need to change or that don't work for you or that you'd like to see improvement in or that can't happen. And then you can finish it off. But I hope that, with this conversation, we're going to come out stronger and you can appreciate where I'm coming from, and kiss, kill, kiss. Right. And so a lot of those times, right, coming back to leadership is, sometimes those people need to get called out, and maybe they're not even aware of their bad mindset or the complaining or the gossiping or being negative, or maybe they just haven't had somebody, hold them accountable to being a better version of themselves. And again, you can't control how other people are going to respond, but you can keep your side of the table clean and do what you need to do to stay in alignment with your values and where you're going, and not let anybody derail you from that. And oftentimes people will step their game up after that and be like, thank you. Like, you changed my life because you called me out when I was in a dark place, or when I was doing X, Y, and Z, or stuff I knew I shouldn't have been doing. Right. Or they're going to go, F you, dude. And that's okay. That gives me permission to say, hey, I did what I needed to do. I had the conversation. I honored that person. That was their choice, their decision. Let's rock and roll,
Yeah.
So
Ultimately, yeah, it's with good intention, right? That you're, calling awareness to something. And a lot of people appreciate that, right? But my closest friends, my folks that I know love me the most, are the most honest with me. My wife does not hold back. She tells me exactly how she's feeling, why she's feeling it, things I'm doing right, things I'm doing wrong. So, I know the feedback is pure, right? Whether I want to hear it or not in the moment, like, hey, you're falling short here, you're doing well here, whatever the case may be. Like, that's the best type of feedback.
Some of the greatest moments and opportunities of growth for me in my life have been some of the rawest, most honest, truthful, sometimes hurtful, but truthful information that I needed to hear. And what it comes down to is, you want those people in your life because they see something in you that might be a gap or might be something you can improve in that could completely transform your life if you decide to do something about it. Like, healthy tension, healthy friction is good when two people can have an honest conversation with one another, call each other up. Maybe you don't even agree, right? Like, but you guys can at least hear each other's perspectives, and based on a common collective goal, or based on just, what you're trying to achieve, you can have an opportunity through awareness to step up and do something different going forward. And that's what I'm always looking for. I call it being a weaponized human. Like, me having success is only a result of me having a lot of failures and having a lot of call outs and a lot of honest conversations with myself and a lot of face plants and saying, I just need to get better then. Like, I don't want to be right. I just want to win. So when somebody points out something that I think is going to help me win, as much as it might hurt, like, I had somebody, one of my mentors, I think I've told you this, right? We were hiking Machu Picchu, and I was making great money, and I was like 24 years old, and I thought I was balling and this and that. And this dude's worth, a couple $100 million. But he's a good mentor and a good friend. And he was like asking me questions about my P&L and my balance sheet. And, I was like, dude, I'm making 7 figures. Like, leave me alone. Like, and he's like, you'll never be anywhere close to as successful as I am if you can't learn how to manage your P&L, your balance sheet, set projections, manage budgets, and know your numbers. If I ask you a question like X, Y, or Z, and you can't give me a real, truthful, honest answer, you're not a business owner. You just know how to make money, dude. You're just a salesperson. You're not a business owner. And that really pissed me off. I was like, the fuck is this guy telling me that I'm not a business owner? Like, I'm 24 years old, killing it, right? And that was something that I was like, well, hold on. I want to be a badass business owner. So if he's telling me, like, is there truth in that? And then, right. And then you go down the rabbit hole and you start retooling. And that conversation gave me the opportunity to say, I need to get better at my finances. What does that look like? Well, that's been a journey for the last 7-8 years as a business owner, getting better at my finances, and ultimately, leading to breakthroughs and ceilings that I was banging my head up against, now just are normal floors that I operate within. So those are the types of things that ultimately, yes, come back to your peer group and the environment, but again, comes back to, can you handle the truth and what are you going to do about it to unlock the next level of yourself? And being weaponized and having all these tools on your tool belt, it's the people that, consistently put themselves in the arena and get their ass kicked and get their face, ran through the mud, that stand back up and go, all right, well, I learned something there, right? New tool on the tool belt. Next time that happens, I know how I'm going to deploy this a little bit differently and use this and leverage that and make different decisions. And that's why I got such a massive amount of respect for, people that consistently put themselves in areas of transparency, is because when you're transparent, you're vulnerable. And being vulnerable, whether that's emotionally as a man in your relationship with other men and friends, or in your marriage, or opening up your books in your business, or talking about stuff that most people like, that's tough shit. But if you can get into a place where, as uncomfortable that as that is, also what on the other side it unlocks for you, you almost become a glutton for this punishment, because you know what kind of opportunity it creates, not only in your physical world, but what is going on in your mind, which all of that, right, plays off of one another. So I think I always commend people for, being transparent and vulnerable, because I think that's one of the hardest things to do. Like, going and doing the work on the right things, that's tough, but like giving yourself an opportunity to even understand what kind of work you need to do, that's even tougher.
Yeah. And I totally agree that, like, the more success I've seen, it seems like I get to failure faster, right? I'm falling forward faster. And in my business, I'm like, it used to be every week I'd find something wrong and I have to fix it. Now it's every day, right? As you grow in more, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna have multiple things per day that go wrong, because we're growing, we're moving forward. And like, no doubt, as you grow, you're going to just fail more. And the more you can fail, the more you become comfortable with the uncomfortable feeling of doing something wrong, the faster that you can grow, scale a business. And I'd love to jump into stuff that, might be on the same topic of getting better every day, but not necessarily in business. I know that, your success is an umbrella, right? It's not just like growing the biggest business. It's being a great husband. It's being a great father. Challenges like 75 hard and whatnot, like some areas where I haven't reached the mountaintop yet. Right. So I'm asking for the audience's sake. I'm also asking for my sake, like, how do you, maybe some actionable advice for daily disciplines around other areas of life that people want to get better every day, whether that's their health, whether that's a marriage, whether that's, as a parent or in other relationships they've got. What are some things that you've had success with? Because I know you've been successful in a lot of these areas, and maybe some actionable advice around daily disciplines.
I mean, I'm somebody that does well in frameworks, because I'm all over the place. So when you give me bumpers to certain bowling alleys of life, I will make sure that I knock down pins. And after a while, within the right framework and making the right tweaks, I'll bowl spares and strikes pretty consistently. I think too many people have the excuse that they don't have the time. And so what I've tried to do is really blend my life into 365 days a year, 7 days a week, not 5 and 2, 5 on and 2 off. So, every framework that I do My whole life includes balance. My whole life, every day includes balance. It includes grinding. It includes love. It includes fun. It includes all the stuff that I want in my life. And that's been an evolution of kind of finding what rhythms work for me. And obviously that depends on the season of life you're in and maybe what sacrifices you have to make, or, hey, this is a season of grind, or maybe this is a season of fun and play. I don't know. But at the end of the day, there is some level of balance in all of those things. And, for me, my axis of my life starts with my marriage. Like, if me and my wife aren't good, I've identified everything else is all fucked up too. That's just the reality of the situation. So one of our frameworks is, we call it the relationship recharge. 3 questions every Sunday, no matter how busy we are, what's going on during the week, how much chaos, how much we fought, how much we made love, how much whatever. Relationship recharge. What did I do well this week? What could I have done better? What do you have coming up this week that I can support you in? Those 3 questions are just a simple way of, no matter if our paths are converging or diverging or whatever, we're always coming back together, hearing it from the other person, getting that honest feedback. That's our arena for consistently working on our relationship and giving us the ability to make sure we're moving things in the right direction, right? We have weekly date nights, we have monthly overnights, and then we have a quarterly, hopefully, weekend getaway. Those are some of the things that we've identified framework-wise allow us to keep working on our marriage, keeping it a priority, right? I do board meetings with my kids once a quarter. I do 1 full day where they get to choose and do anything that they want just with us one-on-one. So it's me one-on-one with them, right? My other daughter will go one-on-one with, my wife, and then we flip-flop. It's that one-on-one day. Those are frameworks that allow me to stay connected with the kids and understand what they're doing. And of course, right, we at least have 1 hour of play every single day, uninterrupted, no phones, things like that. When it comes to my health, I work out 365 days a year. Sometimes it might just be a walk around my neighborhood. But like picking things that you can consistently do no matter what happens, no matter how stressed out you are, no matter how busy you are, no matter if you're traveling, no matter if you're hungover, no matter whatever, like identifying frameworks that you can do at a bare minimum 365 days a year. Again, I'm all about rhythm and momentum. And so keeping momentum in the areas that I know have me, at least give me the best chance to be as optimized and weaponized to get success in the areas or gardens of life that I care about. I don't want to just be, I met so many people over the course of my journey so far that, are millionaires and they're bankrupt in their health. They're bankrupt in their relationships with their spouses. They're bankrupt in their quality relationships with their kids. Like, they don't care about anything but their money. And I believe that there's no amount of success that's worth any failure at home. So like, that was number 1. I wanted to make sure that I was a millionaire in all areas of my life. And that's why I started the Millionaire Mindcast. I just wanted to start interviewing other people that were crushing it financially, but we're millionaires in their health, we're millionaires in their marriages, millionaires in their parenting, millionaires in their philanthropy, millionaires in their businesses, all of that kind of stuff. And so, as we all know, success leaves clues. Like, what works for one person may not work for me, but the more data that I can get up on the data dashboard and say, my definition of a rich and happy and fulfilling and successful, wealthy, abundant life looks like this. This is my definition. This is what I'm working towards. All of that data, I can go, okay, well, that actually would serve me, and that would too. And I'm going to leave that off to the side, and I'm going to do this. Right. And so when I go back and say I'm a student of life and I'm always looking for my next teacher, I mean, my kids teach me something every day. I talked to a homeless dude this morning that was literally dumpster diving in, my office parking lot. And he taught me something today about just like kindness and, so there's always a perfect model for what you're solving for. Like, you and I have talked about this. Whatever your business model is and goals are that you want out of your business, there's a perfect plan for that. If you want to be worth 10 million bucks in 10 years, there's a plan for that. If you just want to make $10,000 a month, to cover your bills and go and travel and have fun, there's a plan for that. You want to have a successful marriage. You want to be healthy. There's a plan for that. So like, I'm just a big believer in staying curious and identifying what is it, being clear, like what is your North Star? What's your vision? What are you moving towards? Because based on that, then we can reverse engineer our way there and figure out the right systems and tools and frameworks and people that will help you go and unlock that. But most people, when I ask them, like, what is that for them? It's like, oh, like, and so getting that clarity, like life, in my opinion, I think one of the biggest things is one, clarity, two is awareness. Like when you know you're off track, cool, just admit that you're off track and go back to the habits and disciplines that swing the pendulum back in the other direction and get you more back on track, course correct, right? When you're crushing it, be aware of like, holy shit, I'm crushing it right now. What's going on? What am I doing? Who am I with? What's going on in my world, right? And just go do more of that stuff. So like awareness and that moment to moment ability to double down or to pivot, to tweak, to adapt, I think is such a great skill set for creating more happiness, for creating more impact, for creating more income. And that's a muscle that I try and exercise through my routines, my rhythms. So morning routines. And then really for me, like mine is evening routine. Like sometimes my mornings are screwed, whether it's with the kids or, I got calls with people on the East Coast or people overseas or whatever it is. Sometimes my mornings, like I don't have a morning routine sometimes, but my evening routine is ultimately what sets my mornings up for success, allows me to hit the ground running. And of course, I've got morning routines that are staples and that kind of stuff. But I would say find things, disciplines, and habits that you can do consistently over and over and over and over again, because you build trust and momentum with yourself when you can execute on those things over and over and over and over again until they just become part of your DNA. It just becomes who you are. It's just normal. Like, how does that guy do that? To me, I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. Like, it's just a part. Right. But it wasn't like that always, and so that's where it's like, just start with one and then maybe two and then three, right? Until again, ceiling, it was hard for you. Now it's just your floor. It's normal. It's just what you do. So I try and identify those kind of things. And again, it all comes back to tweaks and adaptations based on, what's going on in my world. What season am I in?
Right. Yeah. I think that's important for people to hear, is that, there's people that have done what you're looking to do. There's people at a place where you're looking to go. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just look at what they're doing and you go, okay, I can do that. Right. And then you constantly chunk at it and you say, okay, I'm moving closer to that person or I'm not. And then you reevaluate and you got to, do more or get more clear on where you're going. But yeah, some folks, that's the first step, right? Is trying to figure out like, what are you working towards? Because when you're clear on that, then you can devise a plan to start working towards it. Then you reevaluate it as you're going. Like, am I doing enough to work towards that? Am I not doing enough? Am I a little bit off course or whatever the case may be? So I love all that stuff, brother. And I really, love all the sage advice that I get from you on a weekly basis, condensing it here into a podcast. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear too, because talked about where you're on the wrong path, you got on the right path, over the last 10 or 15 years, you've seen an amazing amount of success, on a bunch of different levels, personal, in your health, in your marriage, in your business. What's your vision casting for 10 years from now? I'm genuinely curious, where's Matty A 10 years from now, in life and in business and the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, business wise, I've got a vision for that in terms of, I'm in my hospitality brand. So, having a boutique hotel portfolio that truly does create epic experiences. The technology is going to be a big piece of what I'm doing and what I'm leveraging and how I'm going to be creating experiences in hotels and epic locations around the world. One of the things that I love about real estate is like, cash flow, tangible asset, tax benefits, all the great things, right? But the one thing that hospitality really brought to light for me and became the, aha moment of this is where I want to spend the rest of my career was the fact that I can truly create experiences and memories for people that real estate assets like my liquor store and my convenience, strip center can't do. I can't take my family to go and experience those things, and I can't, allow other people to go and enjoy and experience those types of real estate investment assets the way I can with hospitality. So, my goal and vision there is to ultimately, we're going to create a boutique hospitality brand that is, we're already going down the rabbit trail of 3D art mapping, augmented reality, VR, and how all of that, with art, with spirits, with food, with all kinds of different aspects tie into hospitality. That technology is now creating a new door for us to walk through. So that's part of the the vision and the brand there, and just continuing to build wealth. I would say it started as a very money-driven purpose journey for me when I got into real estate. Now this is just all about just like passion and purpose and fun. When it comes to my wife and my kids, very clear and simple. It's to stay as connected, close, and to build to remain in alignment with our core values, and to build a level of opportunity and to model what successful, healthy, happy humans look like. Like, I don't really care what they do or who they become, as long as they stay aligned with our core values, because we're clear on what our core values are. And so those are the things that wherever that takes us and takes them, I don't know, dude, life is, it changes so fast and so rapidly. Like your quote you said at the end of at the beginning of the show was like, so much can be achieved in a 10-year timeline. I mean, I look at who I've become and what I've unlocked over the last 10 years of my life. I do like to say, have a direction that you want to go in, and have an intention and a purpose behind why you want to do it. And through awareness, I'll find ways of connecting dots and course correcting along the way. But it's all going to come back to the foundation of my core values. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I believe in? What do I not believe in? Who do I want to do it with? Who do I not want to do it with? And I'm okay with wherever the chips may fall, as long as I stay in alignment with those things.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love you as a friend, as
Back
a
at you, brother.
business owner, as a husband and father. So, the Get Better Everyday audience, might be, looking towards you as like, hey, this is a guy I might want to model. This is a guy. So where can people find you? Where can they check you out online, follow what you're doing in the hospitality business and with the Millionaire Mindcast and all that other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, our hotels are Play Park Hospitality or playparkhotels.com. Podcast, millionairemindcast.com. We're top, 100, 200 podcasts in entrepreneurship and business in the world. And, I've been doing that for 7 years. So, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we come out with all kinds of cool content for entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, wealth builders, people that are just, again, looking to be that whole life millionaire. So they can check it out there. I'm on, Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms, official Matty A, or you can just go to my website, mattaitchison.com. And, always love connecting with new listeners. You can text me at 844-447-1555 and say what up, say you heard me on the show.
Sweet, man. Thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Cheers.